Greet you all students of third year. This is paper first, unit B. And after the completion of famous Victorian poet Tennyson, now you would have quality time with another British poet. And he was a great romanticist because he belongs to which age? The age of Romanticism. So, students, mind you, we have chronology in the history of English literature. And see, these famous romantic poets just prior to Victorian era. Okay, so it must be clear to you. So, this age, particular age, Romanticism, 1798 to 1850, with the publication of lyrical ballad. And see, when we articulate St. Coleridge, we are overwhelmed because we would obviously mention the name of his most intimate friend, William Wordsworth, great romanticist. And see, Romanticism, it's a great romantic moment in the history of English literature. Entire world witnessed it. And these two friends, St. Coleridge and William Wordsworth, friends, most intimate friends, poets and writers, philosophers and social activists. So here the point is that there are two poems prescribed in your syllabus by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. His time period is 1772 to 1834, and these two poems, Kubla Khan and Frost at Midnight. So when you study a poet, see, as I discussed this point earlier also, you must have better knowledge. You must comprehend the idea, the notion that this poet, he belongs to which age and what are the important characteristic features of that age. Unless and until you know the important characteristic features of that age, how would you comprehend that particular poet? So, in this context, students, it is a must to know that St. Coleridge, he hails from which age? Romanticism. And as I mentioned this point, that this romantic moment, long step forward taken in the whole range of English literature. Entire world witnessed that. Of course, the publication of lyrical ballads in 1798. And this was a joint collaboration publication by these two intimate friends. Now, what was the reason of this? As you know, Coleridge and Wordsworth, they were social activists also. I mean, this point, students, you must comprehend this. And this age, it was a reaction against 18th century period. Okay, so try to comprehend the chronology prior to Victorian age. Yes, this is Romanticism, and prior to Romanticism is, of course, Age of Reason, Augustan age, that was called 18th century. Now this Romanticism, this great romantic moment, it was in fact a reaction against 18th century period. The kind of literary pieces and the Age of Reason, this was called the Augustan age, and also neoclassical age, and Age of Pope and Dryden. Now, what was the reason why it was necessary for these two great poets, Coleridge and William Wordsworth, to publish lyrical ballads? So, as this is one of the most important points to comprehend for the young aspirants like you. That, see, this 18th century earlier, prior to Samuel Taylor Coleridge and William Wordsworth, what kind of, literature at that time in 18th century? What kind of literature it was? See, it was, meant only for class apart, aristocratic class, and the common people, the poor class, it was ignored. And these, as I mean, this is a very popular term when we talk about Coleridge and William Wordsworth, that this romanticism, love for nature. I mean, as soon as you discuss romanticism, most striking feature, is love, passion for nature, common people, and the poor people, empathies, sympathy for them, sensitivity, and see feeling of brotherhood and compassion. I mean, these are very important points. But now there is, very important reason behind any kind of movement. Yes. And this movement, what was the, purpose of this movement? So here, students, it is a must to comprehend this point. So this, as I pointed out, this focused the point that it was reaction against 18th century, say, kind of literature theme. It was based on only class apart, and aristocratic class, royal people, and kings and queens and royal. This was this and William Wordsworth and Coleridge, both of them, with their as a great humanitarians. These, as a Coleridge, a great humanitarian, William Wordsworth also humanistic approach. So both of them, they could not tolerate it, because literature, a literary piece, it must be for all, for the common people also, for laymen also. They must also, I mean, if you write a poem, even the last person of the nation, of the state, must comprehend it. So this is this is the first reason of this famous romantic revival. So this was the theme. And now William Wordsworth and Coleridge, in their poetry, the theme was, yes, based on the common peoples. That's why, we would always, I mean, this is one of the important points, that Coleridge, he was famous as a poet of supernatural element also. Okay, supernatural, I mean, the some, which is some theme, it was based on the some supernatural aspects, like two aspects here: spirituality, supernatural, the world beyond, and another important point is that, yes, he was quite interested in in taking the theme, and in just in which we have witches and apparitions and ghosts and fairies. So this was, St. Coleridge, his interest was, I mean, his special bent of mind for that. In lyrical ballad, these two friends, they decided that, William Wordsworth, he would derive the common and make with his remarkable artistic feature or artistic talent, he would make this common uncommon. Okay, and Coleridge, he would derive uncommon is supernatural element, and with his remarkable potential and his poetic talent, he would make it common. I mean, if you study some his poems like Kubla Khan especially, and say Christabel, some supernatural element is there. Supernatural means the world beyond, in which we have the apparition, particular in Kubla Khan also. I mean, that romantic atmosphere, and we have apparition means in which we some demon, and the women waiting for demon lover. So elements which are from the world beyond. So this was the reason that some kind of peculiar characteristic features, but at the same time, as we have been discussing the point that romanticism, so this is, I think, one of the important characteristic features of romanticism. Now, so this they were not confined to this only. Generally, these two poets, and especially we as Samuel Taylor Coleridge, it is prescribed in your syllabus. So we would focus this British poet Coleridge. So he has become popular as the poet of supernatural elements. See, you just have a look here, but I mean, here I would like to draw your attention that he was not only famous for this one reason, I mean this supernatural element, but another important point is that yes, he has love, his love for the common people. So this was the first common people, I mean the poet of man with great humanitarian approach. So this is these are certain important points. And another point, I mean, when we discuss the point romanticism, the age of romantic revival, so this is the first important reason. Another point is that theme, then the setting. Yes, in 18th century artificial diction, diction was also in which language it was used for the class apart, and high flown language, bombastic language, and artificial phraseology also. So the common people, how would understand the common people? Heroic couplets and all that. This kind of artificial language, high flown language. Therefore, this was another reason of romantic moment. Language must be simple, simplicity of expression, and it would touch the core of even a layman. So this was another reason, okay? And third important reason is setting. So first, is that clear? Theme must be based on, yes, common man, the poor people. Also, I mean, the important writers, poets, thinkers, philosophers, artists, they never ignore the common people. Poetry is for all. It has great universal appeal. So this is another reason. You just have a look point wise, students. These are very important. Setting is, yes, countryside setting. That is natural surroundings, beautiful objects of nature. And nature, as William Wordsworth has also pointed out, nature is your guide, guardian, and goddess. So if you spend time in the natural surroundings, you would become really a good human being. So we have unity among man, God, and nature. This is really the very, very important feature, very, very important point and aspect of romanticism, romantic movement. So three important points, students of third year at your level, it is a must to comprehend. So here just have a look point wise for your better understanding. Okay, belongs to which age? Romanticism. And romanticism, yes, it is a reaction against 18th century artificial diction, theme, setting. So natural surrounding and countryside setting, Coleridge, he had passion for this particular, countryside settings, natural objects of nature. So now, this great moment, which was marked by the publication of lyrical ballad. So see, from the point of view of our examination also, in section A, you can be asked some questions. I mean, short answers in which about the, who is the author of, for instance, lyrical ballad, or say the publication, the year also 1798, because this is, landmark in the whole range of English literature. So you must uh, have idea about it. And see, then we have, characteristic features of this particular age also. Just in brief, you must have idea, and the first important point is the setting, as I mentioned this. See, have a look, and these are certain points about Coleridge and these two most intimate friends, William Wordsworth also. As you know studied William Wordsworth's poem, yeah, very very nice poem, yes, Tinton Abbey. It was very nice poem. His development of his attitude toward nature, guide and guardian and all that, I mean, of moral being, yes. So we have certain important characteristic features of Romanticism. For instance, return to nature, love for nature. And of course, you begin the point with the reaction against 18th century poetry, literary pieces. So this was 18th century period prior to Romanticism. So age of Pope and Dryden. Now here, just have a look. We have these are certain characteristic features of this particular age, Romanticism. Okay, and this romantic movement and love for nature. I mean, this is the most a striking characteristic feature, commendable, and very important point in, I mean, particularly these poets. The first phase of Romanticism, this age in which we have William Wordsworth and of course St. Coleridge, and the second phase in which we have Keats and Shelley. So the famous poets. So now in particular in this point, in which setting is countryside, beautiful objects of nature, natural surroundings. I mean, people, they must understand the importance of five elements also. See, see the reason of your this particular human existence. What is the reason that you are surviving in this world? And see, nature, she has been giving you, as a goddess, she has been giving you a lot, and you don't have time to appreciate nature and objects of nature. So this is, I think, one of the important reasons of romantic movement. See, all the time people, they have become materialistic, and by hook and crook they are crazy after earning money. That's okay, that's fine. You must have money for your survival and for just to get success. But at the same time, you must think that what is the reason of your survival, what is the purpose of your living in this world, and you must know to appreciate nature. So this is the very very pivotal point in these poetry, and therefore and this is one of the important characteristic features of romantic age. Then we have supernatural elements. Now actually, supernatural element, try to comprehend this, away from this world, beyond this nature, natural world which is tangible, visible and audible. So but I mean, people generally they have idea, I mean, this is misconception that it is confined only to the apparition, but spirituality is also one of the important characteristic feature I mean, if you want to comprehend it in better way, two points are there: spirituality, love for God, and religiosity. So focus is on that also, okay? As an ancient mariner, some spirit, superhuman power, supreme being who has been governing this world. So this is, I think, supernatural one of yes, of course. Then very popular notion of supernatural, everybody knows that, in which we have this fairies and apparition, ghosts and witches, and some mysterious atmosphere, demons and all that. I mean, this is quite common. I mean, notion of that supernatural element, so you must be knowing it. Then the important point, humanitarian approach. So this is, I think, the focus of this romantic poetry is on humanitarian, humanistic approach. So we would continue this point, students. All the best.